quite funny. Yes, so I don't think that's infrasound at all. That's just very loud and interesting behavior. I don't know what they're saying. I'd love to know what they're saying. There's only so many notes that they use, but there must be some form of language in the hippo there that tells all sorts of things, like, oh, look at these tourists watching us again. Don't they know the migration is only in 4 or so months? I'd love to know what hippos think when they're watching us. We can see a little pod of hippos, little family unit. The water's a lot deeper here. We're just at the base of some rapids, and it seems like there's a little bit more water accumulated here, so a little bit more sort of suitable habitat or territory for a bull. And so, yes, Bianca, hippos do make very cool sounds, and I wish I knew what they were saying, but it is quite funny, and it's quite interesting. But so what I was saying is that the hippos this is what would be a small demarcated territory of 1, maybe 2 bulls, and having the water is the territory, the water is the resource. The females need to submerge themselves, and if a male can get a really nice pool, a perennial pool that is wet all year round and can keep quite a number of females, that is prime location. Other areas that might dry up aren't ideal, and your weaker bulls would look after those areas, and then they don't obviously attract as many females. The females want access to food, and on our way down to this crossing there was huge amounts of hippo paths going in and out, because they travel quite large distances every night to feed, all depending on how much food there is, but they've been known to do round trips of 60 kilometers, so that's just under 30 miles in the search of food in one evening, before coming back to these shallows to keep themselves nice and cool from the hot sun. And having these territories and these puddles is very, very important for the hippo's survival. Wonderful crocodile there, a lot smaller than the other one. Sorry, can you come again with that, Faith? I didn't get your message. Okay, copied. So, beautiful crocodile, but we are going to be leaving this area shortly and navigating further down the stream, and while we do so, we're going to be going all the way back to South Africa to my good friend Noelle and see what she has for you.
Everyone, alright, we're over here in the big beautiful open areas that are just on the southern side of Chitwa Lodge, and we have some impala males that are busy fighting. I just want to come around the corner a little bit so we can get as unobstructed a view as possible, so that we can watch that. Ah, here we go. How's that, Ferg? Is that okay? 2 very good sized males, 2 decent sized males. I don't think that they're fighting to the death at the moment. I think it's more of testosterone filled and lots of ladies around. Here they come again. One of the reasons why I say I don't think it's to the death is because one keeps running away. Now, I do just... it's hard because we've got this tree that's in the way, so I kind of want to move forward, but I don't, because I don't want to miss any of the action. Now, if this was rutting season, you would be seeing a much heavier a thwack. You would hear it a little bit more with their horns, and you would also see them really, really, really going at it, because, there we go. Oh, let's see if we can hear. Let's see if we can hear it again. So, there. I'm hoping you all can hear this. It's like if you take 2 sticks and like hit them together. So elephant tusks hitting each other sound like 2 big broomsticks hitting each other, and then what this sounds like is 2 thin sticks that are very rigid, and when you smack them together, that's what it sounds like. Very cool. So if this was rutting season, they would be trying to kill each other to a point, but they also for dominance over these females. Right now, they're just exercising and getting themselves ready for rutting season that will happen in, what month are we in now? We're almost in Feb, so in the next few months. of course they're going behind a tree. Let me just roll forward. Monique, you're saying it seems as if the Royal Rumble's on today. I like that comment. That's a really great comment. I enjoyed that, Monique. There, this is a little bit of a better view. Now, I also just heard now a little bit of thunder rolling in the distance, which is making me happy. However, that being said, I feel like the clouds are not coming towards us. I feel like they're going more towards Kruger and north to Thorny Bush and Timbavani, but hopefully tomorrow. And I just also want you guys to know, so here's the males here. If we go to the left, a lot of the females are over there, not paying any attention. They really don't care that these two males are fighting. So these males are not just fighting to condition themselves, but it's also for the ladies saying, look at me, look at me. They don't care. And there's a couple other males that are in there like, yeah, you two go at it. A lot of beautiful wind and a few bird calls that are popping through, but the wind keeps carrying them away. All right, so now impala are herd animals similar to those giraffes that we saw earlier. And you'll get females in herds with lots of females and youngsters, and then you'll get bachelor herds of males. The collective noun for impala is a rank of impala. And then this time of year you get lots of mixed herds, so males mixed in with the females. As we get closer to rutting season, you will start to see the defined bachelor herds and defined breeding herds, and the breeding herds will have one male attached to them, but usually that only lasts for a few minutes during the middle of rutting season, because all they do is fight and mate. They don't eat, they don't sleep, they just carry on. We've got a vehicle that will be passing by us shortly, so sorry about the noise. Scarlett, you'd like to know if I've ever seen an impala injured while fighting. I have. Scarlett, there was a male impala on one of the properties I used to work at whose horn grew funny. It grew out sideways, and he used to take that horn and shove it into the rib cages and sides of the other male impala and kill them. So yeah, I've seen that. Ferg, this is great footage. Notice how they look at each other when they're getting in there, and they're also trying to sort of one-up each other as well as not get their horn. Really fight horn on horn, but something like a kudu that's got really curly horns does more posturing, so more sort of chest puffing out, look at me, I'm so big, as opposed to actually trying to hit with the horns, because they can get stuck, and if those curly horns get stuck, then they can die like that. I have never found impala horns stuck together, but I have seen males fighting like this, and once they're like that, had leopard come and kill them, and then the one that the leopard killed, the horns got stuck into the other one couldn't get away. She also killed that one as well, amazingly enough. They really are giving you all a very good show. Now, these two males are in very good nick. I know we've all been worried about the lack of rain this side, and myself and Scott and Tristan, and I'm sure everyone else as well, has been chatting about it quite a bit. Something that's important to remember about impala is impala are mixed feeders, so they eat leaves and grass. And right now, the conditions are really only affecting the grass instead of the trees and the grass, similar to our drought that we had a couple of years ago. Now, where we are in Chitwa, they had a lot more rain during that big storm than we did. We just got a little sprinkling. They got some proper rain. All right, these two seem to be taking a little bit of a break. And as I say that, of course, here they go again. But Scott has a tiny little mammal that he would like to show you, so I think let's head on over to him.
Thanks, Noel. We've got a wonderful scene here. This is an animal that we very seldom see. Other than a fleeting glimpse, they're usually quite shy, but this slender mongoose has got a good reason why it's hanging around here. We got alerted to its presence by some starlings, of which you can hear them all alarming now. That's them showing their disapproval of the slender mongoose. And as you can see, there's a dead scrub hare, and we can only guess that the slender mongoose has been feeding on the scrub hare. It looks like it's hardly been fed on. It looks like it's almost very fresh. I haven't had a good look at it yet. We literally stopped the vehicle as soon as we saw both the scrub hare and the slender mongoose. Let's keep an eye on the slender mongoose. David is on the move. There it goes. Oh my lord, it's a black mamba that killed the scrub hare, and the black mamba's going up the tree, and the mongoose is attacking it. This is absolutely ridiculous. Up a bit, Davy. There we go. Look at this. A ginormous black mamba. And that explains exactly why the scrub hare looks quite fresh. This mamba would have just killed it. And I'm guessing the slender mongoose responded to the scene because of the alarm calls from the birds. Oh, my shattered nerves. And I think we should definitely welcome on board as many other people as we can to this fascinating scene. I saw the mongoose running, and then I just saw it kind of bite at something, and it actually tried to bite the tail of this black mamba. I thought it was trying to make another kill at first, and then I saw this almighty serpent start slithering about. Good grief. Now, I was telling Dave as we approached the sighting, please could it be a big snake? Please could it not just be a slender mongoose? Have a look at the slender mongoose below there, Dave, directly below it on the dead stump, down a bit. It just jumped down, but it was standing, kind of looking up at the black mamba. And isn't this a wonderful, wonderful kind of David and Goliath display here? The slender mongoose looks like it's trying to work its way higher up this tree. I'm going to reposition ever so slightly. Hello everyone who has just joined us on this unscheduled safari broadcast. As you can see, there is a snake up in that tree, and it is a black mamba, one of the most highly venomous snakes that we see in Africa. My name's Scott, and it's great to have you on board with us. Now let's take a closer look at the snake as I explain to you what exactly is going on here. Now, we were driving along peacefully. It's a cool, cloudy afternoon, and hoping to find something interesting when we heard some birds alarm calling. It was mainly the starlings that clearly were letting us know that they weren't happy about something. So we drove into this area, and looks like the snake's trying to move. I just want to, it's quite tricky. There's another predator on the scene. Let's show you the slender mongoose quickly, Dave. It's just at kind of 9 o'clock there. And this was the first predator we actually saw, this tiny little slender mongoose. And I thought, oh, well, as per normal, there's no sign of any snakes, but just a slender mongoose. But then we spotted something else, a dead scrub hare. And it looked quite fresh to us, but I wasn't too sure exactly what was going on. It looks like the slender mongoose was wanting to steal it from the snake. Can you actually believe what's happening here? So this tiny little scrub hare would have been caught by the snake, and this mongoose is now trying to steal it. Now, we need to keep a close eye on quite a few moving parts now. I'm trying to work out where the snake has gone. It started slithering down the tree, and with snakes, we've learned that they can disappear so quickly. There's no sign of it in the tree anymore that I can see. And who knows, will this black mamba put up a fight against the slender mongoose, which is definitely far smaller than it? I'm guessing that black mamba was about 3 meters in length. But the mongoose is showing an incredible display of its strength as it drags what will be an absolute bargain of a meal for it. It's going to keep this mongoose fed for days. Now, because we see snakes so seldomly, and because that mongoose isn't going to be able to move too quickly, I'm going to try and just get us into a spot where we can work out where the snake has gone. Let's hope it doesn't slither up into the vehicle. Like I said, this is one of the most venomous snakes that we do get out here in Africa. It's got a highly neurotoxic venom that will essentially just shut down your organs, causing you to die. But I don't think we're going to get ourselves into any trouble just yet. Now, I can't for the life of me see where the snake has gone, but let's just stop and see if we can't have a scan in these bushes. it could well have disappeared into any kind of cavities or holes. AD, you've just mentioned that you've been hoping to see a black mamba for many a safari, and this is the first one you've managed to see with us, so I'm glad we managed to work that one out for you. Where could it have gone? It's incredible how such a big snake can disappear so quickly, and there's not really that much undergrowth for it to hide in. Let's keep driving around this kind of fallen down tree and see if we can't get a view of it. My heart is absolutely racing, as I'm sure a lot of yours are as well. So much excitement out of the blue, and that is the joy of being on a live safari. I didn't have time to mention where we are and what's going on. We're in South Africa in the Sabi Sands Reserve at the moment, and this is a live safari if you have not gathered that already. Now, no immediate sign of this slithering serpent, but it could just be kind of curled up in a ball somewhere. I'm hoping we get some more views of it. But this snake is a territorial snake, so it'll know this area well, and I'm guessing it would have worked out and remembered a good place to slither off to, and I'm guessing it's somewhere at the base of this tree. It looks like there could be a few hiding places, a few holes in and around that root system there. Phew. Now, where has the mongoose dragged the scrub hare to? I can see the little mongoose. I think we may have disturbed it ever so slightly, but seeing as though it has just stolen this meal from the snake, I'm not too concerned for the time being, and it will come back immediately to where the scrub hare is. I'm guessing it's somewhere just in front of us over here. So what we should do is get into a good spot and kind of just sit and patiently wait to see if we can't get any more views of the snake, as well as the slender mongoose starting to snack down on the scrub hare. Whoo-wee! Absolutely awesome, awesome stuff. And seeing as though things seem to have calmed down for the time being, I'm thinking of saying goodbye to everyone who has just temporarily joined us. And if you would like to continue joining on this afternoon safari, you can just Google Safari Live and find us quite easily that way. Thanks very much. We'll see you all next time. Welcome back, everyone. Whew. That was absolutely crazy, and such a good example of how you just never know what is going to happen out here. I can't believe the snake gave us the slip. I was really hoping we were going to be able to get some more views of it, but I think if we position the vehicle in the right spots and just sit and wait patiently, we could well see the snake coming out to investigate what has happened to its hard-earned meal. Wonder where it went. What I do know is that these creatures can just move so quickly that sometimes they give us the slip with relative ease. But I'm sure a lot of you are ecstatic that we finally got a decent snake sighting in. We see them so seldomly that I'm very, very happy that finally our luck has turned. Cool, yeah, thanks, Davy. I spotted there. Dave was just letting me know where the little scrub hare is. We've got a view of that. So we're gonna just get into a good spot where we can wait and watch the mongoose come back and start doing its thing, and or hopefully see what the snake is getting up to. So while we do that, we are going to send you off to one of the others. I bet they're feeling jealous about our wonderful sighting.
Unbelievable, Scotty. I can't believe you saw what you saw. First of all, seeing a mamba. Second of all, seeing a slender mongoose. And third of all, I'm going to see that footage when I get back, because that's just ridiculous. I don't have as much action as you guys did there, but we are down at one of the major crossings, I would ascertain, on the Mara River by the fact that the slopes here are very, very gentle. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... about 9 or 10 of the biggest crocodiles you'll ever come across just sitting there on the bank. They are enormous. Those are all really, really big crocodiles. You can see a baboon at the back there. I think they're called olive baboons. They're walking past. They're not coming too close. There's some youngsters on top there having a little look down. You would, wouldn't you? That's what we're doing right now. We're just peering, but we know inside ourselves that going any closer is just silly. I remember being on a walk once up in Makuleke in Pafuri, and I was leading, and about 30 meters in front of me a crocodile stood up on the bank like it is now. It was in front of us, stood up and sort of walked kind of towards us, but it wasn't really towards us. It was kind of trying to turn around to go back into the water, and just that moment of it moving, it sent terror through my soul. Everything about that animal moving and towards you and looking at you is frightening. I don't think we need to be taught that. I think we know that instinctively. Our body just knows. I mean, look at that. That is prime evil. They have been around for so long that any ancestor of ours knows very well what the crocodile is capable of. Beautiful. Really, really big ones, these. I mean, the biggest recorded crocodile was 5.5 meters. So what's that? That's work that out. Trying to work that out. I apologize. It's very long. 5.5 meters in feet is times 3, I think. Yeah. 15, 16 feet. Make it 18 feet. That is huge. Yes, crocodiles, wow. And, you know, they feed on fish, as I said before, but, you know, they are reptiles, so they spend their time in the sun, and they don't need metabolic energy like we do, so they don't need to eat all the time. Even if they just had a wildebeest every couple of months, you know, they could probably go for an entire year with one meal, a proper meal, and they wouldn't have to eat again. They don't need the energy that we use to expend to run around and do our thing. They just have to lie there and let the sun do all the work for them. And when they're really hungry or want to be active, then they get up and go in the water and catch some fish. Or just wait here, as is going to happen, and it's probably happened for however many years the wildebeest have been crossing these exact places. And so why go anywhere? Beautiful Mara River. Scarlett asks, why do they have their mouths open? And they're cooling down. They are reptiles, so they rely on the ambient temperatures to heat them up, and when they get a little bit hot, then just like the birds do, they open their mouth and let the wind push over their mouth, and then it cools them down. It doesn't require any effort for them to open their mouth. It actually requires muscle to close the mouth. So having the mouth open like that is actually the relaxed sort of stage. But they are enjoying themselves on the bank there. Wouldn't want to be a wildebeest trying to cross this little pond. Katie asks a question, is it true crocodiles have 2 aortas? I don't know. Well, I honestly actually don't know that question. I don't know the answer to that question. There's a lot about the internal organs of a crocodile I don't know about, but I'll definitely look that up. Well, I'm not sure. You would have to have 2 hearts to have 2 aortas, wouldn't you? Yes, no. Katie, I'm sorry, I'm not sure. Yeah, so I reckon 5.5 meters, it's close to about 18 feet. 18 feet and 1,000 kilograms. So that is close to 2,000 pounds. Can you imagine trying to swim in the river here with these extremely large animals that don't need to eat but will? They're prehistoric. I remember my tracker telling me the only animal he's afraid of is a crocodile, because they've got no instinct. There's no rationale with them. Most trackers are afraid of honey badgers, as I've said, but they are afraid of crocodiles. But we're going to move on from probably our last view of the Mara River this afternoon, and we're going to go over to Jamie, who I believe is with the Olololos.
The Olololos are starting to lift their heads up. They are showing signs that they are going to get up and perhaps start moving about, maybe even have a drink from this rather, I guess I'd call it fetid puddle that's in front of them. It doesn't look particularly appetizing to drink from, but lions won't be too fussy about where they drink. Obviously, like all animals, they would prefer fresh water, but elephants, of course, are the ones who are famous for really enjoying and actually actively searching for fresh water over stagnant water. But in this case, I don't think it will stop them. Oh, there we go, another one's rolled over, sitting up, blinking in the harsh sunset. That's very peculiar. Back. How very odd. Thank you, Manu. Apparently my voice disappeared briefly. Apologies for that, but we're back again. No idea how that happened. David, quite possibly yes, but you'd have to go back quite far away. So far back in... What's biting you? Far back down the line. So David's question is, are the Olololos related to the sausages? There is often a possibility with lion prides that at some point way back in history they might actually have been related to each other, and that they sort of came about through a split in a larger pride. And it's impossible for us to know that for certain. Yes, the sausages are the immediate neighbors to the Olololos, but territories for lion prides do shift around a little bit. The females are sort of the generational guardians of an area. So a pride might shift around a little bit, a couple of miles here, a couple of miles there, down the generations. They might be under pressure from other males, but a lot of the time they'll actually stay in quite a similar area for a few generations at least, which means that there is a possibility. What has got you? What is biting you? Did you sit in an ant's nest by any chance, little man? Oh, it's just, something's biting it and I just can't get comfortable. It's really quite, it's just too frustrating for words. Now it's brought it over to the other cub, the older cub. It's obviously some sort of fly or potentially biting fly, or perhaps a stinging insect of some description. Oh, now look what you've done. Oh, no, there's more. Looks like flies to me. Roadblock. Now, roadblock is perhaps new to these live safaris, and wondering, well, where are the male lions? Are they not with the females? The truth is that male lions are not part of a pride, and it's something that I think is a very, very powerful misconception, that males must be part of a lion pride and that they're always with the females. Think of it this way. A male lion, or a group of male lions, known as a coalition, they have a big territory. And that territory can encompass the territories of several different groups of females. Now, those males have an important job to do. They have to patrol that territory, they have to keep other males out, and while they may be the fathers of these cubs, they have to make sure that they are protected from strange males entering their territory. That means they're often off on their own. Often they split up, even if they do belong to a coalition. They'll wander about, they'll mark their territory, and then they'll come and visit the females. And they'll often visit the females when there's food involved. Male lions are more than capable of hunting their own dinner, or breakfast, or lunch, or whatever it happens to be, whatever time of the day. But they are not adverse to allowing the females to do the work for them, and then going and joining in, often taking what's known as the lion's share of the meal. They will also help with the hunt, if they come upon the females while they're hunting. So they'll go to mate, to eat, occasionally just for the company, but they're not always with the females. Often they're with different prides. And there's no reason why they might choose to be here with the females. There's plenty of other things for them to be doing. And actually, you'll probably find that they prefer to be away while these... I'm just going to sit here. Because as you can see, cubs don't necessarily have a sense of personal space. Lions are bad with personal space as it is. But cubs love to go and flop on each other. Might be a little bit irritating to the males. But look here, that's a male. That's a young male cub. Now, please forgive if I've got the name wrong. I think Faith said Erin, but it might have been... was that... Perrin. Okay, I wasn't sure. Perrin. Now, Perrin is 10 years old, and it's lovely to hear that you are watching the live safari, Perrin. Now, here we go. We've got the subject of the question from Perrin. Can lions swim? Perrin, yes, they can. Most of the mammal species out here can swim. Some better than others, obviously, and some like it more than others. Elephants love swimming, for example. And that's partly because I don't think they don't have to really worry about things like crocodiles. They're too big to be threatened by them. So lions do swim. They can swim. They often swim across that Mara River. Steve was at the Mara River earlier. He was showing you the various animals around there. The lions often swim across the Mara River if they need to. They don't like doing it, though. There's no real indication that lions particularly like it, and that's probably actually mainly because they're scared of being eaten by a crocodile. And crocodiles don't distinguish between a lion or an antelope or a zebra, whatever else they would be looking for to make their next meal. Lovely to hear from you, Perrin. I'm excited to hear what question you come up with next. Come on, lions. There's a tree right there. I've been told so many things about your fantastic tree climbing ability. You know you want to. It's right there. Now, Scarlett, I have been in the position where I've been able to touch a lion's fur, both adults and cubs. That's something that I've spoken about in the past, about the problem with cub petting. But Scarlett, of course, is wanting to know about the softness of a lion cub's fur. Lion's fur is surprisingly coarse, except around the base of the ears. You know the soft parts on a house cat? Around the base of the ears, around underneath the arms? Oh, the legs, the front legs, around the armpits. Let's call them that. That's where the softest fur is on a lion. But lion's fur is very coarse. It's very functional. It needs to be. It's there for a reason. And obviously, if it was too soft and fine, it would cause all sorts of problems. It would become matted and uncomfortable and full of parasites that would be entangled in it. Their fur is quite coarse. As for young lion cubs, well, I've never touched a very young lion cub before, and I am ashamed to say that in the past, before I knew better, I did touch an older cub. I got to play with an older cub before I realized I was very young, but before I realized the full detriment of what I was doing and how absolutely unnecessary it is, and how unfortunate the future of those cubs that are raised for people to pet actually truly is. I can tell you that it's not as soft as a kitten's fur. We're going to sit patiently with our lions and see if they decide to get up to some tree climbing exploits. But while they sleep, let's jump back on board and join Noelle in the back of, I think she's on Wendy.
So we had set up this really nice view of a vulture, and then all of a sudden we could hear kudu barking. So we've just come into the block a little bit, and we found our kudu, but they're relaxed now. So the wind is coming strongly and then circling around, so I'm wondering if they're smelling something that they just can't quite see. So I think, we'll stick with our kudu for a little while. We're not far from the last area where we were seeing Tundi, and we haven't seen her in a couple of days, and it's very good weather for leopards to, one, be hunting out and about, and two, just moving because it's much cooler than it has been. Now this kudu has a really interesting mark on her back there. Her stripes are very different. Look, all striping patterns are unique, but that's a little abnormal sort of loop it's made there. Very cool. And of course a resident oxpecker to help the kudu with any possible sightings of predators, as well as to pick around the bum area, as you can see, and take off ticks and parasites. Now, something that those oxpeckers will do other than consuming the ticks and the blood, as we talked about earlier, there you can hear it a little, maybe. Sorry, the wind's just picked up. They were alarm calling just a little bit there, but if there is something like, say, us on foot or a predator of some kind walking around, those oxpeckers will fly up an alarm call, and it warns the kudu or impala or rhino or buffalo that they happen, or giraffe that they happen to be on, that something's amiss. It's also a sound that we as walking guides need to really keep track of, because if you don't, you could possibly end up in a scenario that you don't want to be in. You always listen out for oxpeckers. Red and yellow-billed, we get both in the area. Now, kudus are meant for camouflage, so that striping, even just the odd pattern we saw before, but the striping pattern on the side is it's called disruptive marking. It's to break up the body shape of the animal. So when they get nervous with something, they'll sort of freeze behind a bush, and that's supposed to help. And then also when they run off, they've got this white under the tail that they'll lift the tail up and run and jump. And it's supposed to be one of two things. One, it's supposed to be a follow me signal for other kudu. And then two, the thought behind that is that they'll run and the predator will focus on that, and then turn around a corner and then drop their tail, and then the predator doesn't have anything to focus on. Now, Eloise, I believe you are asking, do we have different rain season patterns like the Mara? Like the Mara's got big rains and little rains here in Djuma, or do we just have one rainy season? I think that's the question that I heard, if I heard it properly. Now, we have one rainy season where Ferg... Oh, sorry, I believe Scott's Mamba's doing something interesting. Let's go to him and we'll finish this later.
Yes, the Mamba has come back out. We can just see it slithering very slowly through the grass there, and it is approaching the slender mongoose with its scrub hare kill. Earlier on, it held its head up about 30 centimeters off the ground, peering towards the scrub hare kill. Let's just show everyone the scrub hare kill quickly. We can just see a little white spot there. That is the scrub hare's tail, and I think the slender mongoose is still there. I can't be certain. The snake's above the snake's above it. The snake's there. The snake's there fighting with the mongoose. Let's just stay tight like that, Darby. And now the mongoose is going for the snake. Oh, it's just so thick, and I don't want to try and reposition any closer. There we can go. We can see the snake there again now. Only just we can see the snake slithering through the undergrowth. And has the mongoose given in? Absolutely epic stuff. Now I am going to try and reposition us a little bit closer. I think we can get into slightly better spots. I'm just going to move very slowly. How absolutely awesome is this? Now I'm going to stop here and just see if that doesn't help for the time being. It's not ideal, but I really don't want to impact on what's going on here. If you go to the right a little bit more, Darby, I think the snake's more to the right. There's its tail. And welcome back to everyone who has just joined us on this unscheduled broadcast. We've got a fascinating scene unfolding in front of us. There is a black mamba. You can see there its tail is slithering through the undergrowth. It's a highly venomous snake, probably the most venomous in Africa, and it's had one of its kills stolen by a much smaller predator, a slender mongoose. And it seems to be, there's the kill there, it's a scrub hare that it managed to catch and kill, and it seems to be trying to reclaim this from the mongoose. The mongoose is still here somewhere. It's just so thick, and we really don't want to impact on what's going on here. But I am going to try and squeeze us a few meters further forward. We're coming to you live from the Sabi Sands in South Africa. My name's Scott, and it's great to have you on board with us. Absolutely incredible stuff. We spend hours and hours out in this wilderness daily, but seldom do we get to see fascinating scenes like this. I'm just going to stop here and see if we can't snipe a little gap through there. It looks like if you keep zooming in, but Oh, there's the slender mongoose. So the slender mongoose is playing with fire here, because if the snake does land just one bite onto a small mammal like this, it will be only a matter of seconds before it dies. So an incredible duel between a kind of a David and Goliath scenario here. This mongoose is far smaller than the snake, and of course the snake is highly, highly venomous, like I've said. Doesn't seem too concerned though, just grooming its back in between this duel between the snake, the scrub hare, and this black mamba. Ra, are you suggesting that can this mongoose not kill the snake? And yes, I mean, it could kill the snake, but it would be an almighty feat for it to be able to kill it, because it is a very large and dangerous predator. So earlier on we saw the mongoose nip the snake on the tail and chase it up a small bush, and it'll continue to try and pester the snake, but the snake is also backing itself. That's why it has come back onto the scene here. The mongoose is incredibly agile, and it's using that speed and agility to avoid any strikes from the mamba. Let's see if I can move forward a little bit more and get us a slightly better view as to what's going on. Okay, the mamba's got its head up having a look at us now. And it's called a black mamba not because of the coloration of its skin. As you can see, it's quite a grayish color, but more importantly because it's got a pitch strikes. It is pitch black. There you can see it now biting onto the scrub hare, and you may see a little bit of kind of meat and blood there. That's from where the slender mongoose had started to feed on the scrub hare. Absolutely incredible views of this highly, highly successful and venomous snake. Now, what is interesting is that the scrub hare is large. So for this snake to swallow the scrub hare, oh, I think it just got a bite from the scrub hare. Did you see how its body's moving like that? I think as it starts swallowing the hare, and it needs to swallow it head first, it's got it by the head there. The mongoose sneaks in and gives it a bite. How absolutely awesome is this, everyone? And the fact that we are coming to you live makes it that much sweeter. Please send through your thoughts and your comments. I would love to hear how you guys are feeling. I'm feeling absolutely ecstatic, because to see something like this is incredibly, incredibly fortunate. Fiona, you would like to know if there are any animals that are possibly immune to animals like mainly the honey badger, which is renowned for being incredibly hardy and tenacious. And I have seen a documentary where a puff adder, also a highly venomous snake, attacked a badger as the honey badger was trying to attack it, and it did manage to bite it, and the honey badger just curled up and went to sleep for a few hours, woke up, shook its head as if it had a small hangover, and then continued to eat the puff adder that it had killed. So possibly honey badgers. Other than that though, not too many animals, including a mammal our size. An adult human being will be in deep trouble if they are bitten by this snake. It does attack your nervous system and neurotoxic venom, and slowly all your organs will shut down. Chris, you've mentioned that this is unbelievable, and I'm very happy to have you on board with us. I'm just going to try and creep forward a meter, not even, just to try and get a better view of the snake's head as it continues to try and swallow the hare. There we go, that's better. And like I've said, it's got its work cut out for it, because it is an absolutely large prey, or much larger than I would have thought possible for the snake to swallow. But they can unhinge their top and bottom jaw and allow their very stretchy skin to accommodate very often large prey. And unlike a lot of other predators, snakes, I guess, and crocodiles don't have the joy of being able to rip off portions of their kill, but in fact have to swallow their prey whole. Not so much crocodiles. Crocodiles can do the spinning roll, where they will break off pieces, but they can't really chew off bits. They need to stretch them out. There's no further sign of this slender mongoose, which is interesting. It may have had a small snack and thought, well, that's enough, I don't want to risk any more. Mamba? Ha! Well, Katie, you've got a very interesting theory. You're wondering if this black mamba is not waiting for, if the slender mongoose is not waiting for the black mamba to finish the scrub hare and then consume them both. To be honest, I don't think that the slender mongoose sees a black mamba as its prey. I think it was just in the area when this mamba made the kill and opportunistically tried to steal it from it. Theft in nature is quite common, interestingly enough, and a lot of the predators will compete with one another and steal kills. Look at how it's stretching now. Absolutely awesome stuff. Madeleine, you are 100% correct. This is a once-in-a-lifetime sighting, and yes, the snake will certainly swallow it whole. It's its only option, really. If it gets halfway and gets stuck, it'll have to regurgitate the initial parts that it has swallowed, because they only have one option. It is all or nothing. It doesn't have the necessary teeth to chew off a chunk of this scrub hare. I wonder how the whole kill went down, if the snake followed the scent of this scrub hare and snuck up on it and just gave it one well-positioned bite, and it would have been, I'm guessing, within a minute the scrub hare would have died, because it's so small that the venom would have raced through its body and caused death quite quickly. I'm going to try and sneak forward a little bit more. Sarah, you'd like to know how long can a black mamba get, and 3 meters is really big for one, but possibly slightly bigger than that. Not much though. How's that looking there, Dave? A little bit to the left, I think. Yeah, and up a bit. Yeah, that looks like it'll be okay. There we go. So it looks like it's battling to get over the skull, but it's about to. And Kylie, you'd like to know, how can the snake breathe whilst it's got its mouth full of scrub hair? And you'll notice there's one tiny nostril that we can see there, and it will be breathing through those nostrils. Look, all the ticks are fleeing. Those tiny little insects you can see on the scrub hair are small parasites, I'm fairly certain, called ticks, and they've obviously realized that their host has died and are now thinking about another plan. Now, has this snake decided that the kill is too large? I think it has. It's off it goes, Davy. It's slithering away there. Well done. So, too big for the snake. And how unlucky is it that it's hard-won meal? I'm going to try and stay with it, get you a few more views, because we see them so infrequently. The tricky thing is they move so quickly through this undergrowth, and even though there's not much cover, I cannot believe how quickly it can disappear. It also took us by surprise when it popped back out. Very close to that kill. We were sitting waiting patiently and had no idea where it came from. Now I fear that even though we did move quite quickly into the spot, that we may not get any more views of the black mamba. But if you would like to see if we do, you guys can Google Safari Live to continue following on this live safari. It's been an absolute pleasure having you for this incredibly rare sighting of a slender mongoose and a black mamba. We'll see you all next time. Welcome back, everybody. Well, wasn't that absolutely awesome? Shame, poor snake. The scrubbear that it decided to kill was a little bit too big, it appears, and you could see it was really just having trouble getting that skull into its mouth. But I'm very, very happy that we got to share that fascinating scene with all of you guys. Apparently Ralph has now got a trick or two up his sleeve. Why don't you go and see what he has in store for you?
Thanks, Scott, and well, everybody, this is very exciting. Exciting for us and exciting for the predator that has taken this little giraffe up the tree. Now, we don't have the best of visuals, but there we are. There is a leopard that has killed a little baby giraffe and dragged it up the tree. We don't have a very clear view on him or her. Taylor seems to think that it might be the shepherd's tree male, but not sure. It's just because she's seen him do this before. So maybe a little specialist in baby giraffe. Well, he's obviously better than those female lions that we've been watching disappointedly missing the warthogs. Well, this guy is obviously, or her, has obviously been very successful in the hunt. And yeah, shame. There we can see the leopard, but in the background, through the trees, I don't know if we'll be able to see it, but mommy giraffe is still hanging around. So it's quite sad for her. She's there behind the trees there somewhere. We did have a view on her a minute ago. She was walking around there. I think she's just behind the trees there somewhere. Shame, but she's obviously pining for her little youngster. But very nice for the leopard, because now he's got a little cachet of food for the next few days, unless there's a wily old lion that could get up the tree there. Now, Cat, you're saying that this is amazing. There's a little bit of movement up in the tree there. I wonder if the leopard's making to move, or if he's just getting a little bit more comfortable. There it looks like its head, yes, and it's panting. We can see its nose just through the brush. Now, Cat, yes, what an apt name, because this is such a beautiful cat here, and this is in the Mara Triangle. So this is my third leopard. Oh, and we've got a beautiful face shot there, just through the brush. Now, we're not allowed to drive off-road here, so that's why I'm not going any closer, and it's probably a good thing, because there are a few excited vehicles with people around. So I'm sure if we were allowed off-road, this leopard would be a little bit harassed. So with that rule, it's a little bit worse for us, but better for the leopard, which I'm quite happy about. Everybody got to keep their distance here. Now, Pisces Bobby, you're saying that this must be heartbreaking for mommy giraffe. Absolutely. I mean, all that energy and everything put into having this little baby. But it does happen quite a lot to a little baby giraffe, especially in their first year, because they're quite silly, really, in their curiosity. And you often find mommy giraffe having to corral a little baby away from all sorts of predators and even vehicles. They sort of just go walking up to them, not really knowing the danger, and obviously they wouldn't, because they've just been born and they don't understand that things can kill them. But mommies are kept very busy trying to keep their little babies out of danger. Well, this one obviously didn't make it, but that does mean that the leopard feeds and lives on for another few days until it needs to find itself something else. So well done to the leopard, and unlucky to the giraffe. I wouldn't say that it's going to have an impact on the population of giraffe. Now, Cat, you're asking, is a baby giraffe a big prey for a leopard? Cat, absolutely. It is a very big prey for a leopard.
it's a massive prey for a leopard. So it's very important to remember that we don't often get to see this. It's a wonderful encounter, and as we just zoom out there, that was a wonderful fleeting little experience that we've had. Unfortunately, it is our time to go and head up the escarpment, and we're not having the best visuals, but what a wonderful end to the drive, I would say. That was absolutely fantastic, and I think I'm going to be coming back here tomorrow morning first thing to see if we can catch up and see if this leopard is still here. Maybe there'll be a lion that's gone up the tree and pulled it out. Who knows? But yeah, we're going to have to start up and start making our way up the escarpment. So, wow, that was a last-minute leopard for me. So everyone, as I leave this leopard and head up the escarpment, please join us tomorrow morning again, because I'm coming straight back here. But as I go on my way, I'm going to head you on back down to South Africa and the beautiful Noel.
Hi everyone, I've got a treat for you. I have a bird of prey that I cannot ID. So there's no feathers all the way down the legs. The legs are yellow. It has a yellow sear, that part across the top, with a black tip, and very distinctive eye markings underneath and around to the side of the gape. There it calls there. And when it opens its wings and it flies, it's really windy right now, there's very distinctive markings underneath. The closest I've gotten is a juvenile African hawk eagle. Yeah, I think that's what I decided on. I'm going to find it in the book for you. But if we have any serious birders out there that are watching, please, any thoughts you have would be greatly, greatly appreciated. I'm finding what the one. And then I was also possibly thinking, I just want to find these photos for you so you can see why I'm thinking the way that I'm thinking. But this is super exciting. It's also sitting on this tree here with a white-backed vulture. And we've been seeing a lot of vultures, so Ferg and I have been checking out the drainage lines here where Tundi was sort of last seen. So here's that African hawk eagle. This one here. So this is the adult. Yeah. On the left. Okay. Now this is the juvenile here. And then over on the side, there we go. Well, guys, while I'm trying to discuss this bird with you, I'm just going to say goodbye to all of you who have been watching with us on the specialized platforms. And we hope you enjoyed. And don't forget to Google Safari Live so that you can keep following us on the YouTube afterwards. Have a good evening, everyone. Hi everyone. Okay, so we're still trying to figure out this bird. It's actually flying around us. Ferg, do you think we can maybe... Sorry, I'm going to take you away from the book. I want to give you guys everything that I can see. Can you see this wing pattern underneath? Oh, Ferg, you're a master. It's going to come around and do it again. This is one of the reasons why I'm debating with this juvenile thing, because I don't think it's actually a juvenile. I just think this is a bird of prey that I physically haven't seen before. Here, it's going to come around the side here. Look at this distinctive pattern underneath. And the coloration is this sort of rufusy brown colors. Ferg, you're amazing keeping up with this bird. It's having a hard time with this wind that's gusting through. Oh, now it's, of course, going to go away. It might come back. Yeah, we can look at the vulture. So that's the juvenile African hawk eagle that I was thinking of is, you know, sort of where I was slightly going, but I'm not happy with that assessment that I've given you. The only other thing that I was thinking of, but yeah, it's one of the harriers. But yeah, I'm gonna have to, I took some photos and then I'm gonna have to take the amazing screenshots that Ferg's just done now in that footage. There we go, and we can have another look. Ooh, Melanie, good call. Juvenile black sparrowhawk. Let me just... The sparrowhawks, Melanie, are a little bit smaller than the one that we're looking at here. I would be more likely to say a juvenile black harrier, but we don't really get that here. And the markings around the face are very distinctive. Sorry, I'm just finding the black sparrowhawk that Melanie was talking about. Yeah, Melanie, I see why you're saying that. We can maybe put this on so everyone can see. Here we go. So Melanie's thinking the juvenile of the Rufus morph. Here's the Rufus morph here. Rufus, that reddish color, and then coming around. And Melanie, I don't think you're too far off. I'm just thinking with the size. So this is 46 to 58. I'm feeling like it's a little bit small. But Melanie, it's also hard for the where it's perched and when it flies, the depth perception there. But Melanie, I think that you're closer with this black sparrowhawk than I was with my other two assumptions. But I like it. You gotta keep them coming, definitely. And it might also just be one of those ones that we need a better birder than I am to do it. I love my birds, but every now and then you run into something like this. And again, that's why I love my job. And he seems to have gone off, so we're still here with our vulture who hasn't moved, and it's getting a little bit cooler, so I don't think it's going to move too much. I'm going to keep checking around the drainage systems here and see if we pop up with Tundi anywhere. And I also want to remind everybody, sorry, I got so engrossed with this idea of this bird, is don't forget we've got TV shows coming up, 4th of Feb, 10 o'clock Eastern Time, live in the United States on Nat Geo Wild. There's going to be a big bump, just hold on. And, ooh, and another one. And we're going to be running that for 5 nights in the row. So the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th. Wendy's having interesting moments today, everybody. So we gotta work with her. So live on Nat Geo Wild, 10 o'clock Eastern Time. And then whilst the show's going on for those 5 days, we're going to be playing Safari Bingo. And Safari Bingo is amazing. Whoever wins Safari Bingo wins a trip for 2 to Africa. So if you want all the rules and the regulations there, go to natgeo.com/safarilive and you can see all those rules and regulations. And I'm really excited for whoever's going to win Safari Bingo. Okay, now if Tundi is in this area, she's chosen well. It is a very tricky area for us to get through. I'm going to just peek around the corner here where we kept seeing all those vultures going and sitting, and see if I can see anything. But for now, I'm not picking up on much. I haven't really seen any tracks. But I am checking nicely while we're going across. And then of course we've got Ferg at the back, also checking nicely. Hold on, it's gonna be bumpy. Ooh, sorry Ferg. I don't want to lose Ferg on his first day back. That would be bad. Ferg says he's still here. All right, let's head on back to Scotty D, who I believe is back with Nkuhumas, while we keep trying, ooh, there goes a stick, while we keep trying to find Madam Tundi.
Yes, we should be back in the last position of the Nkuhuma Pride within the next minute or so. And it'll be interesting to see what their state of affairs is. Are they going to still be in a comatose state, or are they going to be looking like they want to get up and active sooner rather than later? Time will tell. Still trying to piece back all the exciting memories of what we've just seen with that black mamba, the scrub hare and the slender mongoose. We've been spoilt rotten, and so happy to have you guys along for that journey. Phew. I was saying to Dave, I wonder how often snakes, you know, like the mamba,
Well, a lot of snakes, I guess, will catch and kill something that's too big for them to swallow. I guess if I was a snake, I would try and catch and kill whatever it is that you're kind of stalking, and then kind of do the maths later, and I guess that's exactly what happened in the case of this mamba. Now, where do I have to go? We're almost there. Just have to turn around here a little bit. Now, the tricky thing is, as these lions do get up and mobile, it is very, very to follow them, but we will cross the path when we get there. But it's a very, very thick area they're having to contend with here. I'm sure you are gathering as we go out. It's off-road. Thankfully, always kind of just enough for us. As we wiggle our way through. Okay, I think it's one or two more corners that we need to negotiate, and then we should have a view of them. Some exciting news from further north of us. 4 cheetah have been located to the north of our property, and with a little bit of luck one day they'll come and grace us with their presence. Also fascinating seeing the road and left the baby giraffe kill. That's something I've never seen. It's something I've heard of happening before, but never actually seen myself. Well done to that leopard, because that's a serious feat to pull off. Okay, nearly there, and looks like the lions are all still fast asleep, so I missed out on too much action from them. Where am I going to position the vehicle? It's not going to be easy, but hopefully if I squeeze us in here we may be able to get 1 or 2 half decent views of them. There we go. Where are you guys going to head tonight, and are you going to reunite with the missing 3 members of your pride? Not missing, they've split up. It's not like they are completely unaccounted for. And they're all big girls, the 3 that are away from this portion of the pride, which is definitely made up of more youngsters. One of which is the one we're looking at now, doing some grooming. So there's 6 sub-adults that all look very similar to that one over there. And then there's one much smaller cousin. And then 2 big lioness. So that's how this pride is made up in front of us. But like I said, there are also 3 other bigger lioness somewhere, probably not too far away. I did see them last night, and they were kind of actually heading in this general direction, but they obviously didn't seem to reunite with their pride. And who knows why they have split up. There are some theories that suggest lions will begin to split up and kind of fend for themselves more when times are tricky. So, possible theory. Sense with the whole lion teamwork story. I'm not the hugest believer that they are the best team workers. Very often it's only 1 or 2 lioness that are kind of leading the hunt, with the rest not doing too much to help. But sometimes all the kind of stars align, and it may appear to us as humans that they are doing this incredible teamwork, working together. But my opinion is that it's not quite. We give them far too much credit. And I guess the theory of them splitting up when there's not much food around emphasizes the fact that they're not the best team players. When push comes to shove, they all go their own way. That doesn't make sense. But it is just a theory. It's not applicable to all lions. Wonderful. Well, it seems like we're going to have to put our patient pants on because not too much is happening here. Banana, a very interesting name you have. You've mentioned that I think that your cats at home is similar to these big cats here. And yes, I guess this is just a larger version, essentially, of one's own cats at home. They act very similarly. They sleep for many hours a day, and I guess they also like catching things. Domestic cats are also great hunters, and I guess that's a good lesson into how much their instinct plays a role in their ability to hunt as opposed to them being taught. Child of the universe, it is wonderful to have such an important person on safari with us. And you'd like to know if these guys are all snoozing because the other three lionesses are probably also sleeping. It seems to be the kind of standard protocol with lions at this time of the year. They sleep until 6:30, 7 before they get up. And I mean, even this pride, we saw them last night. They only started getting up and active at around 8:30, 9 o'clock. That's when they arrived at the Buffelshoek waterhole. We were patiently waiting for them to come and have a drink because we knew they were somewhere nearby, not far off. And after they had a small drink, they continued to sleep on the dam wall for about another hour before we left them. So there's no set rules, but the kind of bottom line is that they don't move as much as we would like, and certainly not during the daylight hours in our hot summer weather. Well, wonderful stuff, child of the universe. Thank you for sending through your question. We are now going to be sending all of you back to Noel, who's got a family of squirrels.
It seems as if I'm the squirrel lady lately, because yesterday we had that epic sighting of the squirrel and the marula nut, the marula fruit, and then today we were just driving around, and in this dead leadwood tree is this wonderful scene of a mama squirrel and her baby squirrels, and she's busy grooming them. Now, there was a teeny tiny baby that came out earlier and went on top. I'm hoping that he comes back, but for now this is quite an epic scene. And then after I got off air with you just now, I had a few WhatsApps that came through on my phone, and I have you'll also see it a lot with mating couples. They'll sort of groom each other, again as a sign of I guess you would say love, or just sort of emotion between the two of them, getting up towards the breeding sessions. And then mums with little ones often do this. It reaffirms those social bonds that many mammals have. And we are coming up to Valentine's in a couple of weeks, so it's always nice to see a little bit of love. I want that tiny little baby to come back. It's at an awkward angle. We can't actually see it from where we are. It's gone up and above, and I believe it's just resting there because I haven't seen it move out yet. You can see the eye of the one being groomed just in the little hole of the tree there. It looks very relaxed. This is like a squirrel massage. We had squirrel yoga a few weeks ago, and now we have squirrel massages. Now, we've had a few tree squirrels that have been alarm calling every now and then with us this afternoon. And it's been a little bit frustrating, as most of them have been alarm calling at nothing that we can possibly see, and or it's been bird of prey. And I talk about this every now and then, but I am always amazed at how, when I was working in Zambia on and off for the past sort of 5-6 years, the squirrels alarm call there and you find a leopard. Like, they alarm and you get there and more, 9 times out of 10 there's a leopard there. Here I feel like we follow squirrels and sort of 7 times out of 10 it's nothing. And then a couple more times it's a bird of prey. Very rarely is it ever a leopard. I find it very interesting. I'm not quite sure why the difference. It's just an interesting difference. Everyone, I'm so sorry. We have to switch some streams around. There's a little bit of technical difficulties that are happening. We're going to quickly go to Tech Loop and then we'll be back. So just don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Apologies for the inconvenience. She did was correct. All right, now we're going to go from our very teeny tiny little mammals to some very large mammals for you to have a look at, and then Ferg and I are going to carry on looking for Tundi.
Seems like my audio pack went off there. Should be back now. I was just saying that at least the squirrels are a little bit more active than our lions are, and Dave and I were just discussing what would be our best options, to stay with them or to leave them in search of something else, because I fear that even by 6:30 these guys are not going to move a muscle. So might just give it a few more minutes here, but I can't help the temptation of going to search for Tundi. It would be wonderful even just to get some tracks or signs of where she's moving, to get a better idea of where she is at the moment. We're all a little bit confused as to how she's disappeared. Even yesterday, when we did have fresh tracks of her and her cub, we really battled to work out where they ended up. And I was really confident that this morning we had come up with some tracks in that kind of general vicinity, but I headed out on my own on a bushwalk this morning to try and track down any sign of her. I came up with nothing. Herbie and Steph, who were out on bushwalk, came up with nothing, not even a track. So it could mean a good thing. It could mean that she's made a kill and she's just camping out with her cub at a new location near that kill, without having to move away from it, therefore not leaving us any tracks or signs to follow. So I'm sure everything's a-okay with them. The only catch is that we don't know where they are. Another thing we were discussing is that, well, kind of which way will these lions move once they do finally get up later this evening, and I'm guessing that they could well head to the Djuma waterhole. So it's important that any of you are new viewers. We do have a dam cam positioned at one of the waterholes in front of the Djuma lodges, and I'm guessing they could well pop up there a little bit later on. Well, you'd like to know, how often do lions need to eat? And it's a tricky question to answer, because it all depends on, you know, how full their belly is before they stop eating, and they can easily survive for 3 to 5 days without a meal once they are full bellied. But if the going's good, they could catch and kill something smallish every day. There's just so many variables that there's no set rules, and even with a pride like this that we spend a fair amount of time with, we've actually got no idea how often they eat and what they eat, because a lot of the time they are catching and killing things when we are not around. And if they do catch something small like an impala, let's say, it'll hardly make any impact on their stomach, so we could arrive even between a morning drive and an afternoon drive and just assume that nothing's happened, but they could well have wolfed down an impala without us even knowing. So tricky one to keep tabs of, but yeah, easily 3 to 5 days is the kind of average period of time that a lion can go without a meal. Banana, you'd like to know if the lions would become angry if we woke them up. Not really, but I guess it depends on the way in which we wake them up. If I was just to go and start clapping my hands now, they would all wake up, but I don't think they'd be too angry with us. But if I got out the vehicle and snuck up on them and gave them a fright, that could incite a very different response. But as a general rule, you know, these animals have spent so much time with the presence of vehicles and humans around them that they have become oblivious to us, especially whilst we are in a vehicle. So we are in a fortunate situation where we would have to basically be a fool in order to put these lions in a bad mood. They are very accommodating of us, and unless, like I say, we didn't do anything foolish, they are not going to become angry with us. Justin, you'd like to know if the lions preserve energy by sleeping all day? Yes, there's no two ways about it. They couldn't be expending any less energy than now if they tried. And yes, they're certainly saving energy. And I guess it's, normal behavior for not just lions, but most big cats, or most cats, even your domestic cats at home. They spend huge amounts of their day sleeping. So fairly normal behavior. And even when lions are hungry, they will still sleep a lot. So, yeah, I think they're doing a good job saving up on energy and getting some much needed sleep. Well, I'm quite envious of where you guys are about to hop on board with Noel. You're about to go on a Mulwati riverbed cruise.
We are on a riverbed cruise, Scott, having a look-see for our precious Tundi. Now, for any of you who might be new and joining us, and we've had lots of new viewers lately, which is fabulous. You have to tell all of your friends about Safari Live. Tundi is one of our resident female leopards in this area, one of our territorial females, and she's got a teeny tiny little cub that's about 3 months old. And we were seeing them often. She allows us to view her and the cub. She's very good at doing that. But the lions that Scott is with at the moment came through close enough to where she and the cub were the other day that Tundi moved. She moved the cub, she moved herself, she left what was left of her kill where it was, and then we haven't really picked her up since then. We've had tracks of her, but haven't physically seen her. I mean, fair enough, it must be very stressful having lions pop up near your babies. Just like for humans, I think it'd be very stressful having anything that could possibly harm you and your kids come anywhere close to you. Makes you have a small heart attack. So I think she's probably just found a nice little nook, and without too much movement from her, it's hard to find this nook. So obviously we checked earlier where we had that great bird sighting, that bird of prey sighting, and now we're just cruising along the Mulwati because this is a good spot from the last tracks we had of where she possibly could be. And again, because of our weather, and for those of you that are new with us, cats move when it's cooler. They don't sweat like we do. They don't have sweat glands and they're covered in fur. So whenever it's cooler is when they move. Now, in the wintertime, that can mean that they're moving sort of not throughout the day, but almost throughout the day. In summertime, it means that they move more at night. They also have a tendency to move a lot at night because they can see at night, but the species that they eat cannot. So they've got that added advantage. And then this afternoon, because we've had all of this wonderful cloud cover and there's a wind that will help take any predator scent away, it is good hunting weather, so a little bit cooler and nice hunting weather. So that's why we're sort of crossing fingers, holding thumbs that and then for just scenery's sake, the Mulwati is very beautiful. Now, funnily enough, when I worked in the Kruger many years ago, we worked in the Mulwati concession, which is there, northeastern corner of where we are now. Our southwestern corner was touched with the northeastern corner here, and that has to do with the Mulwati River that meanders its way up into that area. It's always nice coming to a new spot or rehashing an old spot and finding new and interesting connections amongst all the different areas. Now, in a riverbed like this, you'll find lots of different vegetation, but you tend to find some large trees. So you would find large trees like that leadwood that we were looking at with that squirrel. And you'll also find trees like this beautiful jackalberry. Jackalberries are usually associated with river courses. Now, I'm not physically driving through water, as you can see now, but there is water underneath this sand here. And that's one of the reasons why large trees like that jackalberry can grow so big and along the side here. So jackalberries are good for many things. The fruits are edible, but my favorite thing about a jackalberry is if you have a wound or a burn on your arm, you can take the leaves and you chew them up into a paste and then you put it on the wound and it helps take care of it. It has antiseptic properties. A good friend of mine taught me that many, many years ago, and I've never forgotten. He's an older Shangaan man who's been guiding probably as long as I've been alive, so well over 30 years. 35 years, and his knowledge is insane. He's trained a lot of the people that I work with, a lot of my colleagues. Not necessarily here at Safari Live, but within the industry. Now we've come across a species that you will see often inside of thick habitats like this, thick riverbed habitats, and that is the Nyala. I'm just going to duck my hat down for you, Fergs. Female Nyala there, fully smaller, pregnant, and then, yeah, there we go. Hello, pregnant belly. And then if we go to the right, you're going to see some younger adult plumage. I almost said for bird. That chocolate brown. All right, everyone, we have a bit of gremlin action happening, so we're going to leave these Nyala. So the gremlin. Thanks, Nyalas. Meal for Tundi. Actually, that tailed deer. Okay, other species are similar. Guess watching from there. Equate them with. Okay, now I keep seeing these stumps and these logs. I'm going, Tundi, why can't you just be logs? I had such great sightings on Christmas and on New Year's Day of Tundi and that little cub laying out on these dead logs, and she's decided today that it's not going to happen like that. But we will persevere, as we always do. Alright, I'm going to come back down into the Mawati again. Hopefully our gremlins stay away. And then I think maybe we're not really going to get a nice sunset, so maybe let's do, it won't be a complete moment of silence because we can hear the car, but we can do a driving scenery moment. Alright everyone, I hope you found that as peaceful as I did. It's a beautiful area. And I think let's head on over to Scott, who's decided to leave those energy efficient lazy lions alone and go and look for something else.
Yes, we certainly have ditched the lions and really just feel that the prospects weren't looking too promising for any signs of life from them. So we're probably going to head into a similar area where you've just enjoyed that beautiful scenery with Noel. Somewhere in and along the Mulwati is where I'm hoping Tundi, this leopardess, and her little furball are going to poke their heads out. So that's the plan. It's been a wonderful cool afternoon, Archer. We've been very lucky with the weather. It can be scorching hot the afternoon drives out here. So really enjoying this cool weather, and hopefully Tundi is enjoying the cool weather too and could well be on the move. James, you'd like to know if there are any updates on Tumba, which is a young male leopard who was born to the same leopard Tundi just 3 years ago. And not that I'm aware of. There was a leopard seen yesterday on Buffalo's Hook, the property to the north of us, but it wasn't confirmed whether it was Hosanna. There was kind of confusion between it being Hosanna or Tumba. It was a young male, but it could well have been Tumba. He was last seen to the north of us, and as far as I could gather over the radio, it seemed like Hosanna had been located somewhere to the south, which means in all likelihood that other male was in fact Tumba. But nothing confirmed, James, nothing 100%. And if we do get any updates, I'll be sure to let you know. Also, not too sure where Tingana could be, the big dominant male leopard of this area. So hopefully he pops back onto the scene sooner rather than later. I'm beginning to kind of count the days now. My time here in Djuma is coming to a close. I'll be leaving here on the 15th of February to have another little holiday and then head back up to the Masai Mara. So really looking forward to trying to spend as much time with leopards as possible while I am here, because up in the Mara it's certainly not as easy to see them as it is down here. Having said that, what are the chances that Ralph found a leopard with a giraffe kill up in the Mara today? So they are there, but just not nearly as numerous as here. Karma, you'd like to know how many cubs does Thandi have? It's just one little girl, and she could well have given birth to more than that, but we never saw any other cubs. It's normal for a leopard to give birth to 2 or 3 cubs, but for her to successfully raise all of those cubs to adulthood is not an easy thing for them to pull off. So who knows what may have happened. Who knows, I mean, she could have just given birth to one, the others may have had some kind of complications. But sadly, very often, especially with wild leopards, nobody is ever going to get to the bottom of what exactly goes down in and around den sites, because it's very difficult to know what's happening in a deep, dark hole where a leopard has given birth to their youngsters. Occasionally snakes will catch and kill baby leopards. There have been confirmed sightings of pythons doing that, and I mean, we saw that black mamba today took on a scrub hare, far bigger than a leopard would be when it's born, so even a mamba could pose a threat to a baby leopard. Very good. Well, all this leopard chat has forced me with no other option to find one for you, so I'm going to need a little bit of time to focus while I do that, and we'll send you across to Noel.
Scott, you're feeling very confident this afternoon. I'm liking it. We're checking. There's a tiny little road that goes back here from the Pan to the Mawati, edge of the Mawati on the western side. So I'm just checking in here because the last sort of definitive tracks we had. Oh, Wendy, I love you, but you're really having moments today, my friend. Wendy's not feeling very well. The last definitive tracks we had were sort of in this area. So down here by the junction, and then around Chelapan, and then into the Mawati. So every now and then we find leopards lurking in the back here, which is why we've got this teeny tiny little road. And then we'll come back down into the Mawati and see what happens. So please excuse the back of my head. I do not want to get smacked in the face with a branch, and I also don't want to fall into a hole, and I really don't want to lose Ferg. He just got back from leave, and I actually quite enjoy Ferg's company, so it would be sad. Hey, Ferg. Yeah. All right. I'm still not picking up any tracks. It's also a possibility with all that bird of prey action we had that she's killed something not far from here. Margaret, good question. You would like to know if they have a specific area or they travel around. Margaret, it's both. So she has a territory as well as a home range, and she actively demarcates her territory, meaning she scent marks around it, both audio and spraying urine, and then she'll have her cub inside of her core part of her territory. So when the cub's little, she sort of regulates herself to the core part of the territory and then moving a little bit around in the territory. And then as the cub gets older, sort of month by month, she moves it to different den sites. And then after it's sort of 3 months, the den, she doesn't really have a den, she just sort of puts it in places. And then obviously as it gets older, it starts moving around more with her, and then she'll start expanding into her broader territory and then into her home range again. So sometimes we know where she is and she'll be there for a while, and sometimes, like now, we know that she's somewhere around here, just not the specifics. And then she'll leave that cub for 3, 4, maybe even 5 days in a row so she can go off and hunt. But something that's interesting about Tundi is, oh, Wendy, it's okay. Sorry, guys. Wendy's got a little bit of a problem with her, I think it's a throttle valve or throttle adjuster, and so every now and then she sort of chugs along. But she's fine to drive. We're just getting a little bit of that action. So then what Tundi will do, what she's been doing, which is odd, is she's been bringing back kills to some of the den sites, which is odd. It's not really normal leopard behavior. And then she had a kill the past couple of days, or a couple days ago, for about 3 or 4 days up this side of a young water buck and a steenbok, and she went and fetched the cub and brought the cub there because it wasn't too far from where she had stashed the cub. So Ferg, how brilliant would this branch be, this log? We have to show you, everyone, this leopard log. So in our mind's eye, Seb actually pointed this out yesterday, but in our mind's eye, this is the perfect log for Tundi to be lying on and playing with the cub. She's not, obviously.
Use your imagination.
Yes, we can use our imagination, Ferg. The real thing's a little bit better. But that's our, when Ferg and I, or Seb and I, or, you know, Scott and Davy are driving around, we think about these things. And if I were her and I was going to be nice to us, I would just be lying here on the edge with my little head propped up, maybe grooming myself. If I was going to be really nice, I might be walking in the middle here. It's going to be a little bit bumpy as we come up the side here. Just hold on. Kenny from South Africa, you're asking, what is normal leopard behavior? There are no rules. Kenny, interesting thought. Look, you have to think outside the box. The animals don't read the books, nor do they live inside of a box. But there is normal behavioral patterns that you will see with any species, humans included. So normal leopard behavior for this particular individual is one, when she's been scared off by lions like this, she goes and hides and doesn't want to be seen for a couple of days. That's a normal leopard behavior. Another type of normal leopard behavior is when it's cool like this, they come out from whatever bush they were hiding underneath during the heat of the day and start to groom and roll around. And then there's certain areas that we know that we're more likely to find her, and that denotes a typical behavior. Then you will get different scenarios. So let's say for some reason Tundi didn't see us as part of her natural environment. She saw humans as something to be afraid of. Typical leopard behavior then would be to be hiding often, and we would just see little flashes of them every now and then, and that usually happens in areas where leopards were hunted. Other types of typical leopard behavior would be, the Pilanesberg is a good example. The typical leopard behavior there has changed quite a bit, and you tend to see leopards more in the middle of the day and also hunting in the middle of the day. And they've developed that for many, many different reasons. And so it's not just leopard behavior across sub-Saharan Africa, although there are a few things. A gestation period is a gestation period. But in certain areas, and then with individuals combined, you can definitely get behavior that you can say sort of 7 times or 8, 10 times or sort of 9 times out of 10, this is what should happen. Lions do something similar as well. And cheetah. Oh, Lou, I needed that. Lou said here that I must take you over to Scott, which I'm very happy to do, but the comment that made me laugh was that his confidence hasn't paid off yet. Scotty D, I'm so sorry. Find us a leopard, my friend, and we'll send you over to him.
Well, no, not yet. Haven't found the leopard just yet, but we will before the end of the drive. It's just a matter of time. So if you did have plans to go anywhere shortly and you'd like to see a leopard, let's you change them. But in the meantime, we're going to get a little bit sidetracked and just pop back in at the scene of the black mamba and the scrub hare to see what's happening here. There is a small chance that the mamba may have returned to the carcass, to try another shot at swallowing it. There is a small chance that it did get scared off by our presence, but time will tell. I'm guessing that it wasn't too perturbed by us, and it was more the fact that the scrubby was too big for it, that it abandoned it, not that because we were there, but that is a reality because we haven't habituated the black mambas of Djuma just yet. Thought I saw something snake-like, but it was just a branch. No, all is still there. The scrub here is still there, and it's in a slightly different position, I think, to where we saw it initially. So maybe that slender mongoose came back for a little snack. And fear not, this little scrub here is not going to go to waste, because Dave would like to make a pair of slippers out of its coat. I'm only joking. I'm sure a hyena or some other predator is going to find it and cash in on that meal. So even though the snake didn't get to eat it, it doesn't mean that it's been a waste. Let's just go around this bush one more time, see if there's anything else we can see, anything of interest. You can imagine being a hyena that comes and feeds on this thing now. You would have had no idea the interesting scene that would have been unfolding before it got so lucky to find it. And because of the fact that the slender mongoose did actually manage to chew on that kill a little bit, it will be permeating a meaty smell. So it'll be interesting. Definitely will be worth popping by here in the morning to assess and work out who found it. Okay, now a lot of you are wondering whether or not the scrub hare that has now been envenomated and killed by the black mamba is going to be dangerous for any animals that eat it. And no, it will not. And it is a good opportunity to define the difference between venom and poison. Venom needs to be envenomated, i.e. puncture the flesh into your bloodstream. The venom will then flow around and start doing its business. If you were to drink a cold fizzy glass of black mamba venom, it would do nothing to you, because unless you had a gaping wound in your mouth, because it's not a poison. So poisons are ingested into your stomach and then poison you, whereas venoms need to be envenomated into your bloodstream. So by eating venom, it's going to have no negative impacts on anything that comes across it. So that's the good news there. Alrighty, well, I'm going to give Noelle a few more minutes to try and find a leopard. If she doesn't, I'm going to have to step up to the plate and do it on everyone's behalf. So why don't you go and try and give her a hand as the safari starts to draw to a close.
Scott, I'm not usually a super competitive person, but I think you're turning me into a super competitive person. If you need to give me a hand, Scotty D. All right, Scotty D, you come give me a hand. I'm gonna let you come in and see what Wendy and see what happens. And then I'm gonna quietly sneak away and find a leopard and just save it for myself and the viewers. How about that? Just kidding. No, but Scott, if you want to come in, please do. I actually think she's probably more on our eastern side in these thickets, where it can be quite difficult to traverse. I know that because I have tried on many occasions to get through there. So we're just having a little look-see around here. And then, oh, did you all get the update about Tumba? So yesterday evening, Tumba was seen, I believe, Biffleshoek moving into Torchwood. So he's around, but he's not physically here. And I know that you all love updates with him. So he's still doing well. I believe the last time we saw him was with Tristan before Tristan went on leave. And then I got an update with Hassana. who is in Little Gallery. So Tumba and Hassana are two young males that are not territorial at the moment. Tumba is the older son of Tundi, who we're looking for. And Hassana's mum was Karula, and Karula was also Tundi's mum. Karula's no longer with us. And so those updates for any of our new viewers, we love to keep you updated on our resident leopards, and they're huge personalities of the show. And then for all of our viewers that have been with us for a long time, there you go. There's your little bits of information, and I hope they help keep you happy for now until we can physically see them. I do know that physically seeing them is much better than updates from other places where we can't traverse, but you never know. Especially with Hassana being in Little Gallery, he could possibly already be in Djuma now. He does like to move, that little one. I haven't heard anything on quarantine, and I haven't heard anything on Tungana in a while. I don't know, maybe if any of you that follow any of the websites or social medias of any of the other lodges around us have any updates. If you want to share those with everybody, please do. And then don't forget, of course, we are live and interactive, #Safari Live on the Twitter or on the YouTube. You can send us through those questions and comments. And as I'm saying that, we have many viewers saying thank you for the update. You're all very welcome. Okay. I don't think Tundi wants to be found, everybody. I just don't think she's in the mood. And also the lions haven't really gone that far. So a lot of the areas where Tundi will go around and scent mark and need to be, it's going to really stink of lion. Ooh, sorry about that. So, I think we will try to head a little bit more east and see if we can maybe catch... Oh, sorry guys, sorry. Wendy, please, my friend. So all of our cars have names. The vehicle I really like driving is Wendy. Tristan's usually in Rusty, and James is usually in Jigga. And then Scott tends to alternate between the three, but I would be interested to know which one is Scott's favorite. Oh, apparently Scott's throwing down some serious shade tonight, everybody. So I have a comment from a viewer named Scott Dyson. Viewer, I'm using the term loosely, as we all know who Scott Dyson is. And he's saying Tundi does want to be found, not just by me. Scott, that's some serious shade, my friend, some serious shade. All right, I've got plans for you. I know where you live, hey? I know where you live, and you make the best biscuits, the best cookies ever. However, I think we're gonna have to have some serious prankster action happening a little bit later. Just keep an eye on the back of your head there, my friend. Yeah, let's go over to Big Mouth and see what else he has to say. Let's see if we can get a little bit more banter going on here. I'm actually laughing quite a lot right now.
Well, yes, I do make nice cookies, thanks Noel. Only kidding. I'm not an expert. I've only made 3 batches of chocolate chip cookies to date on my life on this wonderful planet. Kind of fine-tuning the recipe. I find most of the recipes, they want you to put too much sugar in, and the cookies are too sweet. So I'm putting less sugar, but lots of interesting other ingredients like chocolate chips, almond flakes, sometimes cranberries. Cranberries are quite nice. I like something chewy in a cookie. All the different textures. So, no joy with Noel, no, not with Noel, with Tundi, and of course we're only having a big laugh. Any of us could bump into her at any moment, and there's not much skill in finding animals whilst driving around in a vehicle. It's entirely luck. However, if you're somebody like Herbert who's on foot finding animals, that is a very different kind of thing to just driving around the roads hoping you're gonna get lucky, which is essentially what we do on a daily basis. Some tracking here and there, but I just can't stress enough how lucky we are to have Herbie on our team. He's not only a wonderful guy, but also an incredibly good tracker. So it's been a huge privilege to be able to spend some time on foot with him and tear a few pages out of his very, very experienced book of the wilderness. And yeah, I think Steph's going to be out on bushwalk tomorrow, but I'll do a little solo mission again, just like I did this morning, just to try and increase our chances of getting lucky with any tracks or signs of Tundi. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are enjoying having a Steph back and on foot. He's been out of the sands for quite some time now, up in the Mara, so he's happy to be back, and like I said, I'm sure a lot of you are happy to have him back. Ah, James Richards, you've come up with a good idea, one that we're not going to be able to execute, but I'll definitely tell everyone about it, and that would be to put a camera trap close to where that scrub hare kill remains and come back in the morning to see who in fact did find it. I couldn't agree more. It would be very interesting to see who came sniffing in. There is a chance though that there will be no scrub hare. I mean, no predator coming, and the scrub hare could still be there in the morning. These strange kind of things do happen where hyena may miss an easy meal, and it's not because their senses aren't good. Again, it's just luck. If the scrub hare is on the right hand side of the road and the wind is blowing from left to right, and the hyena walks along the road, even right here, the scrub hare could be there, and if the wind is blowing the wrong way, the hyena is going to have no idea that there's an easy meal there. And I think that is why fairly, not often, but quite often, surprisingly often in my opinion, you get these situations where a leopard's got a kill but no hyena find it for quite a few days, and or, you know, you may find something like the scrub hare that's just been killed and abandoned by its killer, and it may sit there for quite some time before it is found. But we'll be sure to go back there in the morning. I think I'll make that my mission. I'll head straight there on foot and be able to give everyone an update. Not visually, because I will not have a cameraman alongside me. But I'll definitely head then. If there's anything interesting, I'll relay that onto the guys who are on shift in the morning. Okay, we're cutting it a bit fine now to find Tundi. How much time we got? No time. 0 time. 2 minutes. If we do find her, we'll be sure to extend the safari, so fear not. Now I'm told Louise, who's directing the show, believes more in Noel than me in finding the leopard, so you're going to go and try your luck with her for the last few minutes. I hope you get lucky.
Yeah, Louise and I are both awesome chicks, Scott, so she does believe in me like I believe in her. You're outnumbered today, Scotty D, sorry. Although if we take the cameramen into it, Louise, I think we're always outnumbered. I don't know what to do with that one. All right, everybody, so we do have a couple of minutes left, and we might just get our last minute leopard, but I'm thinking maybe tomorrow might have to be our leopard day. I think everybody is either hiding or out and about on the hunt. And I'm enjoying Scott's cheeky behavior this evening. I think he wins the award for epic cheekiness. So I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna keep driving as we're going, as we're chatting and sort of wrapping things up, because I really do want Tundi to pop up. Now, whilst I'm doing this, I think we need to just recap and on how we've had such a wonderful day, as always, and a wonderful afternoon. And then don't forget that on the 4th of Feb, after that big game, that unmentionable big game, that is going to be super fun for anyone that is watching, we are then airing at 10 o'clock Eastern on Nat Geo Wild, live TV show for 2 hours. And we'll also be doing it on the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, and wrapping up our last show on the 8th. And we're going to be playing Safari Bingo, and the lucky winner of Safari Bingo will win a trip for 2 to Africa to go on safari. You can find out all the rules and regulations natgeo.com/safari live. So don't forget to play while we are live on Nat Geo Wild in the United States from the 4th to the 8th of Feb. All right, everyone, thank you so much. Welcome back, Ferg. Scotty D, good luck, and we will see you all tomorrow morning, 5:30 our time. Salute.